asking you. I just wanted to say if you were, that's a really good one.
We're not live, sir. If you were attempting to roast, that was subpar. Don't worry, the public didn't hear you embarrass yourself. No one's in here yet. It's just you and I.
All right, for sure, brother. All right.
No one's in here yet. It's just you and I, bro.
Okay. I just want to let you know. We got. So I'm gonna do felony or misdemeanor. I'm not trying to say like let it like. We're gonna give people time to actually guess. You've seen it, so you can after a minute or two of waiting or whatever, we can just jump to it.
All right, I got a guess in here, but I'm trying to show the back of her gown. But if it gets too grown up, I'll kick her out. She just wants to chill.
No. Honestly, man, it's not. Indecent exposure. I already kind of know the areas where I have to substitute words. And you've seen misdemeanor or felony, so I'll definitely edit the words as they come up if I think they're going to be a little spicy. But
you don't have to change the show. This is our time. This is your time. She just wants to hang out for a little bit, and that's for sure.
No, man, it's all good. We'll go when there's 5 or 6 or something.
All right. Do you mind me eating? From my text,
I'm not eating.
Do you mind me eating in between you reading and talking?
No, man, you're good.
Are you sure?
You're good,
man, I'll start if it bothers you.
Brody, you're totally fine.
That's not bad with the hot sauce. Thank you.
One of my friends just passed the bar today, so we took him out to get drinks. It was pretty cool. It reminded me of when you took me out when I passed. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was cool, man.
You didn't give
first
him his
attorney in his family.
You should give him his blood stripes.
He didn't deserve that. You gotta earn that.
Oh damn. We got 5.
You got 5?
We got 5.
All right, man. Well, we got our number, so I think I'll just go straight to it. So first things first, I want to say what I always say. Actually, before I go into that, I want to say something. I do apologize. Normally, this should have been done yesterday, but my wife and I, my mother-in-law came into town, and she wanted to do something really, really nice for all her grandkids. So she took them to the circus, and it was really cool. Like it was really cool. Kids all had memories, core memories. Inside out type stuff. So I was really happy, and I do apologize. I like doing this. It's fun, and for me, it gives me an opportunity to learn my profession. So I appreciate it, but I do apologize. I don't like missing. It's fun for me to.
Did you tell Mama Amador?
Wow, Warlord. You sent, you're rude. Before we even go into this, I'm going to cover but Warlord sent me mail, and instead of putting my full name, he just put simply Crybaby Andre. That's crazy. And this is what he sent. He sent, that is ridiculous. He didn't even put the right name. He didn't put Crybaby Andre. He put Al. That's so rude. But anyways, I wanted to say that before we go further, that one, I do apologize to you all. My wife thinks it's awesome that, again, for me, this is fun. Deep down, I want to become a professor. So this is practice. And at the same time, it makes me better at my job. So thank you. And I do apologize. I will try to not make this a pattern. Vacation is coming, Warlord. I will let you know. I got a vacation end of October. We'll be going to to Florida. So I'll be doing the Florida episode. But yeah, so first things first, I do apologize about that. But all right, now the regular things. All right, everyone. This is rules and guidelines. We're gonna go from say again.
Did you tell Mama Amador I said sup?
Oh, I will. I'll definitely do. We're gonna go see Mama Amador tomorrow. So
I said sup.
Oh, for sure. Again, your family. I totally will. So again, this is rules and guidelines. Everyone knows. For me, the most important thing is is to explain to you guys what this is. This is rules and guidelines. We're going to go from generals to particulars. First things first, I am a Virginia criminal defense attorney. I don't know anything about, any of the other states. I'm going to talk about the concepts generally and then talk about particular case law for Virginia.
He is not your attorney. He is the best attorney.
I appreciate that, brother. But I will say this. This is for educational purposes only. I am in no way trying to establish an attorney-client relationship with anyone. I have a wife and 3 kids. Please don't get me fired. I'm doing this again. This is just between myself and one of my best friends, Warlord. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, by all means, put them in the chat. But again,
Bro,
this is just for...
burrito.
Say again?
No, this burrito is mine. I mean, this burrito is yours. You ate my burrito, jerk. Get out.
So 2 things. Your camera's off, 1. And 2, it's her burrito if she's hungry. So how about,
gotta get out. No, she ate my burrito, and I'm stuck with her nasty burrito. Oh, I didn't even turn off my camera. I didn't want you to turn in your face.
You're fine, man. Just, oh gosh, that's an inside joke. Remember someone eating food on camera? Almost got fired for my comment about that. Jeez.
Bro, that was one of the funniest things I heard about life. I didn't even mean to laugh in your face like that, bro.
Okay, this is rules and guidelines, so we're going to talk about that at the end. But if Warlord remembers, I'll definitely explain to you guys why Warlord laughed at that comment. Having said that, if I'm going to be honest, I talked to one of the other attorneys about this, and they can tell that, like, one, that I've learned so much. So rules and guidelines. This is the first part, misdemeanors or felonies. Warlord, I love this portion. So I'm going to say what the charge is. I will give you the statutory code, but I want someone to post in the chat what they think it is. It could be a misdemeanor or a felony. Let's do a review real quick on misdemeanors. So misdemeanor 1 is punishable up to what, Warlord?
That's the high one. That's the
misdemeanor 1. Misdemeanor 1 is punishable up to 12 months incarceration, a fine of $2,500 or both.
Well,
misdemeanor 2 is misdemeanor 1.
Misdemeanor. Yeah, sorry.
You're good. Misdemeanor 2, misdemeanor 1, 12 months incarceration, a fine of $2,500 or both. Misdemeanor 2 is incarceration for up to Warlord 6 months, fine of $1,000. Misdemeanor 3 is no incarceration. It is a fine of up to $500. Misdemeanor 4, no incarceration, a fine of up to $1,250. Now, what's up?
No, I'm trying to get it on.
Okay, so felony 6, Warlord, you remember this one?
Felony 6 is the
lowest. I'll give you that. It's the lowest.
5 years maximum.
Hell yeah, Warlord. So felony 6 is 1 to 5. Punishable up to 1 to 5 and a fine of $2,500. Felony 5, you remember?
Wait, what do you mean? Like what? What falls under?
So we did felony 6. You just said what felony 6 is. Felony 6 is punishable up to 1 to 5 years. Felony 5 is the next higher one. How much time do you get for that?
3 to 10.
1 to 10, close. That is still fine up to $2,500. But remember, Warlord, I'll give you a hint on felony 4. This fine jumps. What do you get now for a felony 4?
A bigger fine, but at the same time?
Bigger time, bigger fine. So remember, felony 6, 1 to 5, felony 5, 1 to 10, felony 4, 2 to 10. And the fine is $100K up to.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, felony 3 is felony 3. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 2 to 10. I know this one. Is it? Oh my gosh, I blanked. No, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 2 to 10. Something in me saying 5 to 20.
I mean, obviously, you know better than me. I just want to say in my head, I feel like it's too soon for 20. Or am I wrong?
No, 2 to 20. Yeah. Oh, I don't. Okay, that's what I did. So I did 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 2 to 10, 5 to 20. I was right. Let's go. Grown man, I do this for a living. So yeah, felony, felony three. Felony three is 5 to 20. And this is so felony four is when the jump happens. That's when it goes from $2,500 fines to 100K up to. Felony threes are 5 to 20, fine up to 100K. Felony two is 22 life. And then felony one is life without the possibility of parole. If you're over the age of 18, both of them are punishable up to 100K. So now that we did that, Warlord, now that we're all freshened up and all ready for this, I'm going to see if you got it. All right.
All right.
All right. Now, so Warlord, illegal gambling in the Commonwealth of Virginia. What do you think? Is that misdemeanor or felony?
Misdemeanor.
What about the chat? I want to see what someone thinks. All right, chat, check it out. What I said the charge was, it was a penalty for illegal gambling. What do you think? Hey, Sigana, you know what's funny, Sigana? You talk about peeing outside. We're doing indecent exposure. So keep that example. In all seriousness, keep that example.
I got a question, or should I wait till you start that?
I was about to say, all right, Mimi says, ask again. Penalty for illegal gambling, Mimi. What is it, a misdemeanor or felony? Illegal gambling. I want someone to give me a comment. We're not moving until I get a comment. What do you think it is, misdemeanor or felony? Let's go. What do you think, Warlord? You said misdemeanor?
That's a misdemeanor.
All right, you're right, but I want to see you go all the way. Misdemeanor 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's illegal gambling. Illegal gambling.
You didn't even
You're
say
right, Mimi.
5.
Misdemeanor.
But I'll say 3.
Hey, yes. So punishable up to $500 in fines. So I'm going to say something before. I want to give a trigger warning. We are going to go into a few of these kind of wild charges. I want to say first and foremost, all these charges are serious. I am in no way trying to make light of these situations. These are serious charges that carry serious time, and at the same time, they're carrying touchy subjects. So if you potentially may be offended in any way talking about certain things, by all means, you can mute. Warlord, next charge, abuse or neglect of a child. Misdemeanor, felony.
Unfortunately, I think it's a misdemeanor.
Interesting. So, what else? Godbody. What's up, Godbody? Godbody. Abuse or neglect of a child. Misdemeanor, felony. Mimi. Misdemeanor, felony. Abuse or neglect of a child. I want to see one. Come on, one of you. Come on. I need a comment. I want someone guessing. Felony. Hey, Godbody. Mimi, felony. That's right. Good job. Good job.
Oh, now, it is a felony. Okay.
It's a felony. It's a felony. Godbody, Mimi, I see you. Now, we know it's a felony. Which one do you guys think it is? A felony 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1? Which one? Abuse or neglect of children? I believe it's a misdemeanor because I was in court one time and saw a guy get ROR on an M charge. So, Sigana, it is a felony. It is a felony 4, which means 2 to 10, 100K fine. I want to say, as a reminder, felony 4 is up, 100K fines up to, which means they can hit your pockets. Mimi, the question was abuse or neglect of a child. Is it a class, or is it a felony or misdemeanor? You guys all picked felony and you were right. Now, what type of felony was the actual question? The real, like the focused one? And it's a felony 4, 2 to 10. The felony 4, Mimi. So, all right, now this next one again. I'm giving the warning. If you guys are uncomfortable with certain topics, you let me know. The next one, the charge is unlawful dissemination or sale of images of another. It's commonly known as revenge porn. You know which word I'm actually trying to say. Warlord, is that a misdemeanor or felony?
That's definitely a misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor.
The first time, at least.
First time, misdemeanor. All right, everyone in the chat. 18.2-386.2, the unlawful dissemination or sale of images of another, commonly known as revenge porn. Is that a misdemeanor or felony? I need a comment. Mimi, Godbody, Sagana, what do you guys think? Felony. Interesting, Mimi.
Felony.
Mimi said felony. If I'm being honest, before I read it, I would have said the same. It is a misdemeanor. What? Misdemeanor 1. I'm going to be honest. There's going to be some of these that I say, Sigana, it's a misdemeanor. Again, so I'm going to be honest with you all.
I couldn't see that being a felony.
Again, so that's the point. Mimi, okay. So this is the thing, Mimi, and Sigana, Godbody, everyone who's watching. I had a conversation with a senior attorney today. You're going to hear me talk about certain charges, and you're going to have that how, why. I think the big thing that I want to stress on these misdemeanor or felony questions is think about that, like wholeheartedly, and I mean that sincerely. If you find one in here and you're like, how is this only a this or how is this a that? Be honest. Think about it. Is that something that should be changed? And I wanted to do an in-person question with Warlord one of these days when he came by my neck of the woods or I came to his. Approach people, say, hey, what do you think this charge is? And do misdemeanor felony with people in real life. Because I'm telling you, you'd be surprised on what people think should be felonies, what people think should be misdemeanors, and what it actually is. So, yes, everyone. Unfortunately, that is a misdemeanor. And again, remember, it's a misdemeanor 1, which means what? It's punishable up to 12 months or a $2,500 fine or both. So yeah. So it's an interesting one. So again, forewarning for everyone, we're going to talk about a very tough conversation with this next charge, 18.2-346.01. That is a prostitution, but not poor, but pro. So poor, you know what word I'm trying to say, y'all. Is that a misdemeanor or a felony? What do you think, Warlord?
On whose side? On whose side? The working person side,
good question.
Or the John side?
Hey, well played, Warlord. I didn't think you were going to catch that. You know what, man? Yeah, that's a good one. Good catch. So, Warlord, again, great catch. Solicitation. So trying to pursue it. So talking to a person and posing the question of, would you be willing to do X for Y? So Mimi, prostitution. Is that a misdemeanor or a felony? Sigana said misdemeanor. Warlord, what are you saying?
On the lady side, definitely misdemeanor. Or on the it's not always a lady. I guess on the working person side, misdemeanor.
And thank you, Warlord, for catching that because the statute does it is gender neutral. I will say, FYI, there are certain statutes that aren't, and we're going to go into those. And you know what? Sigana. Ooh, she said misdemeanor both sides. Sigana's killing it so far, at least for this point. It is a misdemeanor. All right, y'all. You guys said misdemeanor. Good catch. What type of misdemeanor, though? Is it a misdemeanor 1, 2, 3, or 4? So let's start with 1. Do you think that this misdemeanor carries jail time? Yes or no? What do you think? What do you think, Warlord? Jail time for prostitution, solicitation?
I've known people where they went several times. They got caught several times before they went to jail. I'm like, bro, you stupid. Come on, girl.
Sigana says nope, so she thinks this is no higher than a 3. Mimi says nope. Interesting.
But the thing is,
I will be honest. This does carry jail time, so this is a misdemeanor 1.
But I don't know. It's like, how can you always hear about people several times they get caught? Maybe it's just the local PD being nice. I don't know. But then, my thing is though, on the customer side, I've heard talk of that they'll post it in the local newspaper. If the dude gets caught, they'll look for that person, dude or woman. They'll look for that person's family contact. Pretty much that they try to socially ruin you though, even though like you might not be getting prison time and stuff, but it sounds like they try to socially ruin you if you get caught engaging in those activities.
So Mimi's right. Yeah, the first time you will get it. You can, but see, actually, Mimi's pointing out something good. So first time, do you get active time? Now, this is a question based on the discretion of the Commonwealth attorney or the prosecutor. some prosecutors will give you suspended time. And we talked about this earlier in prior rules or guidelines classes. Suspended versus active time. Suspended time means you're not getting any time now, but if you violate one of the conditions, then what? Then they can give you some of that time. Now, if it is active time, that means you're doing the time right then and there. All right. So, solicitation, prostitution is a misdemeanor 1. Now, 18.2-450, riot. Is that a misdemeanor or a felony? Warlord, what do you think?
Almost done. I almost feel like it depends on what you can be charged with, what can be tacked on. Can you get charged with destroying public property, private property, government property? That's what I feel like. So I don't know, man.
I'm going to be real with you. This one, as I was going through them, I thought to myself, fact patterns like, oh, you could stack this crazy. So Mimi, I do apologize. I'll say it again. The charge is a riot, committing a riot. I'm gonna give a definition of what a riot is, but it's 18.2-450. Committing a riot. This one, I know that for a fact. I know at least 4 cases of cops picking up girls I knew. One had a baby with her. First of all, woof, Sigana, that's wild. But actually, you know what? I'll give you something before we go into this real quick, Sigana. I can't specify what God body. You said felony. I'll give you a hint, God body. You are both right and wrong. So, Mimi, yeah, you guys are both right and wrong. So, Sigana, in a jurisdiction that I can't specify, there was a conspiracy that was proven to be true where there was a system in place where the prosecutors, the judges, and the cops were going really, really light on prostitutes. And it turned out that there was something in place that essentially proved that so the cops would take some of the money from the prostitutes. They wouldn't give them any time. The judges would also get some of that money and would release them. And that was pretty much the system. The system would be that.
I'm your pimp now, little girl. That's what they were saying.
I'm just saying. That's what it boiled down to. But so now, first, what is a riot? To go back to that. A riot is 3 or more individuals acting together, causing public turmoil and disrupting, right? Disruptive acts. Now, God body is right. It is a felony. However, without any other additional factors, it is a misdemeanor 1. However, God body's point, it is a felony if one of you has a gun. It doesn't matter if the gun was displayed or if you had a gun on your person, it's a felony. So that's one of those examples of all it takes is, again, hypothetical scenario, right? Me and Warlord are hanging out outside of a arena. Let's say our favorite sports team won, and me, Warlord, and let's say hypothetically Godbody are just hanging out, having a good time, right? Let's say, hypothetically, let's say a person we didn't even know comes by with us and we're cheering, we're all celebrating because our favorite sports team won a game. We all get loud and rambunctious and we see a bunch of fans from the rival team into it. We're talking crap to each other. We start fighting. Let's say the 4th guy that we didn't know had the gun. We all just caught a felony. We all did. So that's one of those that it's just very peculiar, man. You got to be careful with something like that. So this one's hilarious. Warlord. 18.2-371.3. Tattooing or body piercing a minor. Is this a misdemeanor or a felony?
I hope it's a felony. A felony?
What do y'all think, Sagana? And Sagana, disturbing the peace is the funniest charge to me. It's basically just on the night,
You got quiet.
Why are you not acting a damn fool? No, honestly, Sagana, it boils down to that. Like, that charge, riot, is crazy, especially if you look at the statutory definition of what a riot is. So, tattooing or body piercing a minor. Is it a felony or a misdemeanor, y'all? Come on. Sagana, what do you think? Mimi, Godbody, D Hill, what do y'all think?
Said felony and misdemeanor.
Godbody says misdemeanor. Mimi says felony. What about you, Warlord?
I told you. I hope it's a felony. I'm
It is a
probably wrong.
misdemeanor.
I've been wrong every other time tonight.
It's a misdemeanor. Tattooing or body piercing a minor is a misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year or 12 months in prison, 20 or oh my gosh, 12 months in jail, $2,500 fine, or both. Now, God
Well,
body, I see you. I think you have a future in the legal world. Let me talk
Pier-
about something though.
piercing is one
What's
thing.
up?
That's fine. I mean, we pierce our kids all the time. But tattoo, it's whatever. I mean, that's something the kid can't take back if they decide they ain't want it.
Again, wild, right? That's a little peculiar. Now, I'm going to talk about something. This one's kind of interesting. So I remember, I think it was JP or someone else in the chat was talking about semantics, essentially, and how some things it's just all about verbiage, right? Now, in our system, where I work in particular, I can't specify. And me means how. How is it? Again, before I go down this road, you guys, that's the whole reason why I decided to do rules and guidelines with Warlord. For me, there's times where you're going to hear stuff I'm talking about, and you're going to say, hold up, rewind that. Why is that the case? Like, why are we talking? Why? And my response to you is, good question. Good question. I love the law. I am an attorney. I love criminal defense. I love crim law. Honestly, I love it. But there are times where you're going to hear me talk about a few more charges that are coming up. Some of them are spicy. And when I say them, you're going to say, wait a second, how is this a thing? And you know what? Great question. You can change it though. Like I want to get to that point. You can change it. All this takes is for you guys to push to have these things changed. All it takes. So, sorry for the diatribe. Last thing before we get into the next one, which is the actual. Now we're going to look at prostitution from not the tricks position of solicitation, but the actual committing the commercial act for money. Now, there is a big difference, Warlord, between 12 months and 1 year.
Well, it started with this. It started with this, and then it moved to this, and then it moved to this.
What do we do? Yeah, we're going everywhere. I don't want to just stay at one thing.
No, I'm
talking about what?
They ask each other how long does it take to get rid of stuff.
Warlord, all right, I'll let you handle that. I'm going to do the actual other part. So
yeah. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
All right, so people think, all right, well, I got. Let's say you got 3 assault and batteries, right? Assault and batteries are misdemeanor 1, which is punishable up to 12 months or a $2,500 fine, or both. Now, let's say you get 9 months on each. Now, 9 months on each means you got what? 9, 18, 27, 27 months in total. Now, you got months, not years. Before you get sent to prison, you need to have years. Now, semantics is, I want to say it was JP said, semantics doesn't, like, it matters. If you were sentenced to only months, you're not going to prison. You're going to stay in jail or county, wherever you're at.
Right.
However, if you get sentenced to a year in whatever month, even if it's misdemeanors, if the verbiage is years, you will go. So I've had clients where, because of how a clerk wrote the actual order or the sentencing order or the jail card, they went to DOC. D. Hill, is it a felony or a misdemeanor if you knowingly give?
And honestly, you always hear this time, but yeah, is that a felony or a misdemeanor?
So what
isn't that close to biological terrorism warfare? Isn't it close to that?
Warlord.
No.
I no. I will say this. I'm laughing at you because I don't even know. So I'm going to be fully honest with y'all. I will never be the person that pretends to know something that he doesn't.
Right,
That's not how I work.
That's a slow death. What
so I'm going to say this. Let's look it up. All right. I'm going to look this up because you got me intrigued. Also, as I'm looking this up, I'm going to tell you, in the state of Virginia, the possession or the distribution of fentanyl constitutes a terrorist. Huh?
Class 6 felony.
Class 6 felony to intentionally give someone an STD?
Yes.
What's the code?
Dang. What's this? What's this
18.
on?
Hold up. 18.2-67.4 dash 67.4.
Bro. See, graduated law school for you, bro.
Sexual battery. Misdemeanor 1. It turns into, what does it turn into a felony? It's when they get an actual, when they get a disease. So misdemeanor 1. I'm looking at the code. I don't see. All right. The missus says that it's 18.267.4 sexual battery, but it gets compounded when once you transmit. That's crazy. God, body time is almost up is wild. So nice. All right. So
you catch on the slow death, man. You want to Nurgle's minions, bro.
Crazy. Now, you guys are wild. All right. We are on. Yeah, the actual.
Real quick,
the
Andre.
prostitute now. Huh?
Excuse me one second. I'm just trying to help out one of our people. At the top of the comments, click the 3 lines. D Hill and press view all comments. That happens to me sometimes in some chats. I'm like, am I blocked? Do people block me? But just click all comments. All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
You're good, man. So, the actual commercial sexual conduct of prostitution, is that a felony or misdemeanor? Sigana said misdemeanor. The actual act. So doing the no after being given money.
For the exchange of money, I guess I would still say it's a miss.
It is. Now, which do you think it is? Is it misdemeanor 1, 2, 3, or 4? Wow, somebody else had felony?
I think it's low, so I would say 4.
It's a misdemeanor 1. You can't do time for that. Yep.
Oh.
You can do time. You can do time for prostitution. Mimi's right, miss. That is right. All right, y'all. This is going to be interesting now. We've done the trick position, right? The actual trying to solicit, or right? We've done the other side, the sex worker. Now we're going to consider the pimp side. 18.2-357, receiving money from earnings of male or female prostitute. Felony or misdemeanor?
I mean, I hope it's a misdemeanor because, I mean, I ain't gonna play with you like that. You know what I was about to say. I was about to be like, because if we get caught for me making you work for me, something like that. I don't know. I'll say, well, I don't know. I'm gonna let them answer first, but
what do y'all think? Mimi, Warlord, or Mimi, Godbody, D Hill, Sigana. What do you guys think?
It's almost like indentured service.
Sigana.
Mimi said ask it again. Yeah. There you go.
Mimi said.
She actually asked a question, or to say the question again.
Sigana. Mimi, is receiving money from earnings of male or female prostitute a misdemeanor or a felony? It's 18.2-357. Sigana asked the question, is that the same as sex trafficking? I'll let y'all think.
I think it is, Erica.
So what do you think? Mimi, felony. Sigana, felony. Godbody, felony. There it is. Yep. Felony. Now, you guys got the easy part. Felony. What type of felony? Is it felony 6, 1 to 5, felony 5, 1 to 10, felony 4, 2 to 10, felony 3, 5 to 20? What is it? It's a felony 2, 20 to life?
Yeah.
You think felony 2, 20 to life, Warlord?
Why wouldn't you get life for sex trafficking somebody?
Felony 4, 2 to 10.
Well, actually, let me. What? That low?
Felony 4, 2 to 10. Yeah. You guys, I'm gonna be brutally honest. As I did this more and more, there's gonna be ones where I'm gonna say it, and it's wild, man. But yeah,
honestly, bro, with my work,
felony 4.
you think I would do that, but it kind of ends at, anyways.
Yep, God bodies. Yeah, God body. You will get time for that. Time. All right, this is for the wild ones. Adultery. 18.2-356. Adultery. First of all, is it illegal in Virginia?
In the military.
Warlord? Is it legal in Virginia?
Military. Is it one of those crazy old laws? Maybe. I mean, it's still legal to be physically mean to your wife on the steps of a church on Sunday. So, yeah, I think so.
God body, Mimi, Sigana, D Hill. What do you guys think? Adultery still a thing in Virginia? D Hill. Okay. Answer this one. If you're in the military, I think it is. So, Sigana, if you're in the military, it definitely is. D Hill, I'm gonna get back to you on that. So now, but before I get caught up in that, no, it's not a silly question, D Hill. It is not a silly question. Then it is just okay. So I did a breakdown of escorts versus prostitution. We're gonna talk about that now.
I wanted to ask you that, but I wasn't sure.
No, you're good. Because I had a client that I had to try to make the argument that, yeah. Anyways, so adultery, is it a thing in Virginia? Yes or no? What do you think, Warlord? Is it a crime?
I would bet that there is some old law on the books because Virginia has a lot of old laws that's never been changed.
It is. It's a crime. Adultery is a crime in Virginia. 18.2-356. Now, what type of misdemeanor is it? Is it misdemeanor 1? You can get time for adultery?
It's an old law, so it's a 1.
It's 4.
No.
You're just going to get a fine.
Oh, dang. Crazy. I was going to drop it to 2, but never mind. Yo, what's my drink? Oh.
What type of felony or what type of crime is that? Look it up. Tell me.
Look at number 3. Just in case.
Oh, they are. They're allowed to.
Right,
the missus is looking into a crime. So you guys are right, though. Adultery is a crime. D-Hill, it should be a crime. Interesting. So it's a misdemeanor 4, which means you're not going to get time for it. You'll just have to pay up a fine up to $250. All right. So this is a very serious charge, and I'm in no way trying to make light of this. So the distribution, the display of child porn or grooming materials, videos to a child, what is that? A misdemeanor or felony?
Felony. Everyone gets time for that.
Felony. Okay. Godbody, D Hill, Sigana, Mimi, anyone else in the chat? Is that misdemeanor or felony?
Nope. Godbody didn't decided the battle of the sexes.
Well, we will get into that, and we will talk about that. Sigana, So it's a felony.
We got 2 felonies.
Yep. Yeah. Sigana, Godbody. Yeah. It's a felony. So what type of felony is it, Warlord? Display of child porn or grooming videos and material to a child unlawful. What type of felony?
Make a move to those communities. So I would say, I want to say 2 or 3. Can I say 2 or 3? Or do I have
you
to
think
say
for
1?
doing this, for displaying child porn or something like that to a child, it's punishable with up to 20 years to life?
Okay, 3.
3, 5 to 20?
Yeah, I think so.
This is the lowest felony. It's a felony 6.
What?
Which means you can get no more than 5 years. You can get 1 to 5. As a comparison, everyone, mind you, as a comparison, you can get more time for possession of a controlled substance than displaying child porn to a child.
That's crazy.
So I just say, yeah. Yes, Sagana, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. as I was reading this, it kind of did. There was moments where I'm like, okay. God body, between me and you, God body. So I'm going to say this. There's a part of me that is trying to be open. Oh, there's a part of me that's hopeful and also optimistic and thinks this is only the case because people don't know. Like if people knew, if we did this, right, and everyone in the Commonwealth of Virginia was aware of this, hey, people, do you think you should get more time for doing this instead of, being in possession of this? I'm pretty sure people would say, yeah, that needs to be changed. But people don't know. And since people don't know, they don't know there's a problem, right? So
right.
I'm not doing this to try to be that guy who's like, oh, that system's wrong and it's stupid. And no, I'm doing this awareness. Now right? Now hello, ding, ding, ding. There is a problem. You see it, right? And I didn't have to tell you it was a problem. Me saying it out loud made the problem apparent. But this can be changed. This is changed the law, right? Now, sorry for my diatribe. Last thing, Warlord, I saw this and thought of you. Paramilitary activity, 18.2-433.2. Is that a felony or misdemeanor?
I know that the Democrats just recently got this passed to where you can't have military training. You can't have like a group of people. You can't have a militia and have military training, which doesn't make sense because by the Constitution, we're so allowed to have militias. So I don't think it's a felony. I think it's a high misdemeanor.
So like a misdemeanor, one punishable with up to 12 months or $2,500 fine?
Probably.
Mimi says felony.
That's because the Democrats don't want us rising up against a tyrannical government. You never take me alive. Run up, boy.
Who thinks Mimi's right? Who thinks Mimi's right? Felony for paramilitary activity.
I've been wrong all night, but I don't think it's felony.
Mimi's right. It's a felony. Yeah. By the way, just to twist the knife, this is a felony 5, which means you'll get more time for this than for displaying child porn to a child.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Again. So funny. Yeah, I mean, again, it does get disheartening. I'm not gonna lie. The more I looked into this, more I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is like, why? But again, sometimes you need to see it. Deal. She's smart. She's kind. She's
loyal.
Oh my God. Use is smart. Use is kind. Yo, that's crazy. I was sharing a murder movie when I said, yeah, see, God body. I mean, let's be real, everyone. I remember when I was younger, and we're roughly the same age. You remember when the videos of people, losing their heads was a big thing, and it was shown all over school. Like, It was wild, man. But anyway, so having said all that, I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like I left a lot of time for indecent exposure. So out of respect for y'all, if you guys are fine with a condensed version of this, I can do it. But if you guys really want me to take my time walking through it, I don't know if we can do that within 15 minutes. So I'll let you guys decide. If you guys are fine with just me kind of giving a hip pocket, more condensed version. I'll be honest with you. This is an 11-page packet. I mean, I kind of wanted to take my time through it, but I really enjoyed doing misdemeanor or felony. So thank you, D Hill. Thank you, Godbody, for you guys suggesting we do it again. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, disheartening, but also fun. Depressing, but fun. What do you think, Warlord? We got 15 minutes. If you guys are fine with just doing a real condensed version, we can.
I think they want it.
Okay, Mimi says she's fine with okay, we can do it. So If you guys are fine with it, I'll do it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to kind of hit main points. I'll go in depth to certain aspects, in particular, what constitutes a public place, what display versus exposure is, and I'll give you a hint. You guys are going to think it's stupid and semantics, but it's fair. And obscene is fun. Remember, we talked about obscene, everyone, right? We talked about obscene. Obscene is one of those really, really hard definitions. We talked about it when we were discussing harassment by computer, right? So thank you, D Hill. But you guys, yeah, so I want you to thanks, everybody. I want you to know that I'm gonna give cases. I won't go too depth into explanations, but I'll hit points. I don't want to waste any more time. Indecent exposure, 18.3387. I'm gonna briefly go over the law. Warlord, you're gonna tell me if it's a misdemeanor or felony. Any person who intentionally makes an obscene display or exposure of his person or the private parts thereof in a public place or in any place where others are present, or procures others to so expose himself, shall be guilty of such crime. Warlord, what does that sound like to you? Misdemeanor or felony?
Man, you jumped into it so quick. My mind was ready.
I'll say it again. Me, Godbody, D Hill, everyone. I'll say it again. You guys tell me what you think. Misdemeanor or felony? Indecent exposure. Any person, every person who intentionally makes an obscene display or exposure of his person or the private parts thereof in any public place or in any place where others are present or procures another to so expose himself shall be guilty of this crime. What do you think? Misdemeanor, felony. What does it sound like?
I would say misdemeanor because I'm thinking of like people at sports games and stuff that the few that get the streaks and gets caught. I don't think they get the hammer like that.
Exactly. You're right. It's a misdemeanor. Now, Warlord, for bonus points, big brother, what do you think? Misdemeanor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's simplify it. Instead of me doing it, breaking it down like that. Warlord, you getting time for this?
Not years, I want to say. I would say like drunk tank time. I guess I'm wrong.
This is a misdemeanor 1. You can get up to 12 months in. Now, I'm going to jump around real quick to this one because I do want to talk about another part of this. Now, Godbody, you do. All right. Before I'm going to go into the elements, but I want to talk about something that, as I was prepping this, was kind of hilarious. So, this is one of those that stacks. And what I say by stacks is similar to when we did assault and battery by family member or violation of protective order or multiple DUIs. If you do this more than once, it gets worse, right? But if you do it 3 or more times, this changes. So to make it brief, there's other charges that they mention, but they do mention in particular indecent exposure. They say if you do 3 of these within a 10-year period, you will be convicted of a Class 6 felony. Now, again, that is equivalent to the displaying of child porn to a child, which is the lowest level felony. But at the same time, that is a felony, which is punishable with up to, how much?
Class 6?
Class 6.
1 to 5.
Hell yeah, big brother. 1 to 5. That's what I'm talking about. I wanted to jump to it real quick just to get that out of the way because it's ridiculous. Now, there's 4 elements. 4 elements. So we talked about this. You guys know I'm a big person when it comes to this element. Intentionality. We're going to go over it in depth, but long story short is what? When it comes to proving intentionality or the intention of your actions, they cannot determine that unless you make declarations or taking into consideration the context that your action was carried out in or circumstantial evidence. So they got to see what else happened. They got to see what you did, or they got to hear if you made any declarations or statements. That's going to be the biggest way that intention is proven in court. I promise you. They're like, I've kicked this. I've addressed that element so many times. For me, if you didn't say anything, I feel good. If you didn't say anything and there's other facts that suggest otherwise, I know they can't prove it. If you're the goofball that says out loud, again, as a general rule, no talking, Now, Intentionality. We addressed it. I'll give one real quick fact or one real quick case. We got Hart v. Commonwealth. Big one. That one is there's a gentleman who picks up his shorts and immediately lets them drop, and he says, "These darn things just keep falling off." He then models in a skin-colored G-string, and he asks the girl that walks by if she likes what she sees, and says that these are attached with Velcro, which gives women easy access to me. So, taking into consideration what he was wearing, the statements that he made to the people that passed by, Hart v. Commonwealth would be an instance or an example of intentionality being proven. Good Lord. So obscene. We talked about obscene, Warlord. Element 1 was intentionality. Element 2 is obscene. To make an obscene, so it's describing the actual act. Obscene is defined. Again, this mirrors that First Amendment definition. So I'm going to kind of go over pretty quick. Remember, the dominant theme, the biggest thing when it comes to determining whether or not an act is obscene is the dominant theme. It has to appeal to prurient interest in sex. The funny thing about this is it doesn't necessarily have to be, and I think the intentional point that needs to be made is it has to be a shameful or morbid interest. And the reason why I bring that up is because if it applies to any interest, then it can be to a certain degree classified as not indecent exposure. It has to apply to a shameful or morbid display, mooning, things along those lines. However, if it's just any interest in nudity, again, we go back to that artistic, we go back to political demonstrations, things that have different or additional meanings within the act, that could result in that being outside that dominant theme. So I just say that as a way of saying, again, obscene is always the hard one, right? When it comes to those acts, pinning this down is hard. However, there's going to be always facts that kind of supports or allows for that determination to be made. So remember, we go to Hart v. Commonwealth, right? Now, with Hart v. Commonwealth, he kept letting his shorts fall, right? Now, what allowed for the interpretation of his act to be viewed as obscene? Sorry, she's out. What allows for those interpretations to be viewed as obscene is what? It was the flesh-colored G-string, right? Now, the other point, I don't know if it was JP or someone else. Remember, it's got to be substantially beyond the customary limits of candor. And I think that we talked about this last time as well. Warlord, do you think because this charge is based or has an element that is kind of dependent on the general consensus of the community that it'll change? Because I'm inclined, every time I read this, I think about that. I think, well, dang. I mean, you remember the free the nipple phase that was happening, what, like 7 to 8 years ago or something? You don't remember that? It was trying to normalize.
What's the thing for women wanting the right to walk around shirtless like males?
Yeah, essentially. Now,
okay.
I brought that up not because, I'm trying to make, the missus angry. I bring that up because for me, that was an example of, well, hypothetically, right? If you go with that, what if that was accepted or normalized? You know what? Like, yeah, you're right. Free the nip, right? And what if that was allowed? Because if that was allowed, then there would be certain acts or instances that would now no longer constitute beyond the customary limit, which means, the standard for indecent exposure would have drastically changed. So obscene's one of those where I think a Supreme Court justice famously said, you're going to know when you see it, which I think is kind of hilarious if you think about certain charges such as this one, right? But so I want to talk about the display or exposure of his person. So there's case law that talks about the difference between the display and display versus exposure. So they say display is the demonstration or manifestation of something, right? So it is to, it doesn't necessarily require, according to, and again, like most things, right? They, if there is no definition in the statute, we rely on the dictionary. So this is just demonstration or manifestation of something which doesn't necessarily require the actual observation of the act. The profile, right, would be enough. For example, right, I have a soda. It is under my sweater. Now, printing it like this would show, although I'm not exposing what's under my hoodie, it is being actively displayed. Warlord knows that under this hoodie is some type of cylinder object that is small, right? He would be able to surmise or presume that it is a can. Now, obviously, taking that example in consideration and addressing it to, or, using it for this particular charge, individuals can display, print, or emphasize or profile a particular object, and that's what they're alluding to. Exposure, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. They say that it requires a certain degree of nudity, so you have to be showing something. And I think there's case law that pretty much suggests that if you are exposing something, then that item has to be displayed. Whereas if you display something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is exposed. Now, the goofy nerd in me says, I have to say this, Alec, or Andre, I have to say this, I have to say this. It's called hypothetical, or it's called a syllogism. So if A, then B, right? And that's just another fancy way of saying, if this, that must happen. But the inverse is not true. So if A, then B does not mean if B, then A. And I think the example to use to demonstrate that is, if I pour water in a cup, then there is water in a cup. If you reverse it, that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. If water is in a cup, then that means water was poured into the cup. No, right? It doesn't mean that, because water could get into a cup a different way. So it's just a logical tool in place that is used. And again, statutorily, they use it here. So now, as I was going through this, there are certain, and I don't want to kind of say it this way because it's going to sound like I'm trying to say this is unfair, but there's a particular case that I want to talk about because it kind of gives this notion that this law is designed or kind of written with a particular group in mind. So, Nice v. Commonwealth. And this, I'm gonna let you know, I'm gonna foreshadow it now. This is gonna be an instance where obscenity was not established. So I'm gonna read it. The evidence showed that a particular female was a family friend of a 12-year-old child, 11-year-old child, and a 12-year-old child, all three boys. On several occasions, this lady and the three boys were joking around, and she would expose herself to these boys. She told the boys that they were babies, and she would lift her shirt and then say, "Would you want some of Mama Kim's milk?" And she would name each boy and say, "Do you like this? Do you like that?" And sometimes she was wearing a bra when she lifted her shirt, and sometimes she wasn't. And on one occasion, she put the boy's head under her shirt. These incidents occurred at her house with one of the child's parents present. And at least one of the boys' parents were present for each incident that occurred. Nisi v. Commonwealth said that was not obscene. Now,
what?
Yes, Nisi v. Commonwealth. The case it occurred in 2010. I have the court citation. It's number 1477-09-3. It's unpublished. Hey, this is it. This is hilarious. The case is unpublished. I wonder why. Wonder why that happened. But so in all seriousness, I bring that up God body's wild. I bring that up because for me, we're going to go into the definition of what person is. And when I say that, I think Warlord is going to be like, oh, I get what Andre's really trying to do. Because you're going to hear that this statute wasn't made for certain individuals. All right. So his person or private parts, right? The word person, when used in connection with exposure of the body, has traditionally been considered in the common law to be a euphemism for something that...
Little you.
Yeah, little you. Thank you, Warlord. In addition, the term private parts has generally accepted meaning, also derived from the common law, refers to the male and female area. So, why am I saying that? I think I'm saying that because we have another case, Heartbeat Common Law, that talks about the private parts and how private parts or intimate parts can refer to, you know, the groin, the buttocks, and other regions. Now, I think what Nisi v. Commonwealth shows us, right? They said she was joking. Ultimately, everyone, the courts said that the alleged victims and their parents testified that the lady's comments referring to her big boobs were made in a joking context. And the uncontroverted evidence showed that her actions, albeit bizarre, were always done in a joking manner. Unlike many of the cases in which the defendant's physical behavior indicates a proving interest in sex exists, this girl's did not exhibit the outward signs of sexual interest, such as visible arousal or certain behavior.
On whose side? Yeah. What's up?
There, right? That's where it boils down. So Nisi v. Commonwealth, to me, gives the notion that indecent exposure is easy to prove against one group, hard to prove against another, right? Like, right. And I think the reason why we know that is because, all right, so unlike many cases in which the defendant's physical behaviors indicate a proving interest in sex exists, what do you think they're talking about? Arousal, right? They're saying certain individuals, we know that their proving interest exists because they're at attention. This individual did not exhibit the outward signs of sexual interest. How'd you know? I'm sorry, but like, I think for me, this goes to show that there's certain people you can't hit with this charge. you just can't. Now, and again, I'm trying. I know that this isn't a joking concern, because really what I think this shows is that the purpose, and they get into the purpose actually. There is a case law that demonstrates the actual purpose being mentioned in Hart v. Commonwealth. Although the term private parts is not defined in the code, other related phrases make clear the legislature's intent to include the groin and buttocks within this category, which leads me to believe what? People are aware what the true purpose of this chart or this of the statute was. The purpose of the statute was to preserve the sanctity of individuals' bodies, as well as to deter individuals from exposing themselves to oblivious or unwanting individuals, right? Who wants to be shown that, without their consent? It's all about consent. So I think that example, Nisi v. Commonwealth, I think that was wrong. But I think that the reason why the court got it wrong is because they used a very simplistic way to try to prove the existence of a prurient interest. They could have done it different ways, right? They could have done it the nature of the acts. They could have done it of the objective perception of the acts. They could have done it by simply you said it, Warlord, actually, based on the reactions of other individuals. Like, if if you do a particular act and that brings about an interest in others, wouldn't that be enough to demonstrate that the proving interest may not have been present in the actor, but it was the desired outcome of the observer, right? It's what you wanted that person to feel.
Right.
Say again, Warlord.
I'm saying I could strike a whole audience, moon a whole audience, and then I could be like, I didn't get any arousal from it, but I would still get charged.
Well, I think there would be a chance. Stop saying buttocks, or at least enunciate it so. At least stop enunciating so properly. I'm sorry, D Hill. Off topic, but the best legal genre movie of all time is Law Abiding Citizen, and I'd like y'all to talk about that kind of situation. Oh my gosh! All right. First of all, let's talk about this. I love Law Abiding Citizen, but that is a nightmare for me. I hate that movie. Scares me. That is everyone's fear, right? Like, that's terrifying. For me, I love Lincoln Lawyer. I love that movie. Oh, I love it. Matthew McConaughey kills it.
I like Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd's good too. Now, she wants us to talk about that kind of situation. A situation where individuals believe that the justice system failed and they take it into their warlord. Ooh, you're gonna get mad at me because you're right. So everyone, Warlord before this episode was like, hey, we need to talk about, and it's funny Sagana brings that up. Warlord was like, hey, Andre, we need to talk about what happened recently with that judge and what happened to the judge, and it was a bailiff, right?
No, right? He was a sheriff. He used to be the judge's bailiff, but he became the sheriff.
Yeah. Warlord was like, we need to talk about that. And as an attorney, I'm like, Warlord, like, that's a very open and shut. He's like, no, but you need to review it. And I was like, Warlord, I just gave you a review on the legal. He's like, no, Andre, you need to talk about it. What did you think? So Sigana, I say all that to say I think we should do that episode. Maybe, if Warlord wants to do it sometime this weekend or sometime next week, we can definitely do it. Mimi, it's a ridiculously good movie. Law Abiding Citizen's awesome. However, if you do have a family or like loved one, like kids or whatever, it'd be tough. I don't like the implications of it. It's just a tough one to watch. Law Abiding Citizen with Daniel Craig. In all honesty, my mom was hit and killed by a car in 2007 on the highway. The guy never spent a day in jail. In the first year afterwards, I seriously considered doing some stuff like that. Well, Sigana, first and foremost, I want to say I'm terribly sorry for your loss. That's ridiculously difficult for anyone. And if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I think movies such as Law Abiding Citizen resonate with so many people because you can empathize with them and say, hey, look, anyone who knows me knows that like my wife and my children are my world. And if something were to happen to them, I could definitely see, me going, that direction. And I think the hard part about that is that you can't, if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, a particular aspect of the justice system is what? It's retribution. What is that? What is that, Warlord? It's giving people what they deserve. And it's hard as a criminal defense attorney to argue when let's say hypothetically, again, and I'm not trying, I hope people who ever hear this understand what I'm really trying to say. If you are charged, let's say there's a very horrific crime that you're being charged with, my client's being charged with, and the evidence is damning, it's terrible. I'm trying to argue as legal as possible. I don't want to even acknowledge facts because of instances like that where, hey, if the Commonwealth talks about those facts, it doesn't matter who's listening or who hears it. They're going to want you under the jail, right? They're going to want you under the prison. So I say that as a way of saying, Sigana, again, I totally, my heart breaks for you. And that's very, very tough. And that's one of the hardest parts about it, because when people hear certain charges or people hear certain facts, they're going to go. They're going to, it doesn't matter how good of a criminal defense attorney you have. People are going to hear that and they're going to say, you know what? Judge is going to say, oh, what's the max I could give you? congratulations, you got that. Like, and again, it's a part of this, you know. But I want to say a few things before we wrap up. I want to say first and foremost, I do, and I'm realizing this because of y'all, so thank you. I do love my job. Like, I love being a criminal defense attorney. It's hard sometimes, and there's times where it's emotionally draining. And I'm gonna give a real quick story. Just, I don't like to do this, but I kind of think that this is a perfect opportunity. So recently, I can't tell you what time because I don't want to divulge information that would allow for you to infer who I'm talking about. There was a time where I had a particular client that was charged with multiple domestic charges, assault and battery of a family member, and he was charged with, huh? Okay. And I got you. The missus was just letting me know, hey, you're live on Facebook, so be careful. And what I'm going to say is he was charged with multiple domestic charges, assault and battery on a family member, and the complaining witness, his significant other, that individual had a very, very tough relationship in the past. Their prior spouse did terrible things to their children, and as a result of that, that individual struggled with substance use. And then this individual started seeing my client and experienced domestic violence, right? And I got them a good, I hate to say it this way, but because of how long they were incarcerated, a deal was made. And this person was, objectively, the judge said it, the cops said it when they approached this individual. My client isn't a person that individual should be with. But when she was talking, or when they were talking to the cops, they said, well, he was charged with something in the past, but I lied for him because I didn't want to get him in trouble because, and she stops and she breaks down and says, I hate myself. And I'm going to be honest with you, Warlord, that messed me up. So I say all that, you guys. And again, she didn't want to have a protective order against this person when the charge was resolved, that individual. And I was talking to some of the other people there, and they're like, you'll probably see them again, and it broke my heart. And I say all that to all of you to say this: I love this job. I do. I love criminal defense work. But damn, is there some soul debt sometimes? Because I am a last line of defense for some people. I am, well, for all of them. Let's be real. Like, I'm a constitutional right. You have a right to an attorney. But sometimes you feel like the bad guy. Like there's a stupid little intern. I'm not gonna say that person's name. Stupid little intern. Little buck ain't even passed the bar yet, and was disrespect. He thought he was being funny. He said, hey Andre, how do you sleep at night? And I'm like, what? And he's like, you're a defense attorney. How do you sleep at night? And I'm like, look, man, my job is to give him a defense and to make sure that you guys do your job. Like, that's it. I'm like, that's my job. It has nothing to do about whether or not that person did it or didn't do it. And he says, well, way to keep Gotham. And when he said it to me initially, I'm like, yo.
Let's invite him out to the bar.
Nah.
Let's invite him out to the bar.
When he said that to me initially, it kind of, it was interesting because I know a lot of people think of us that way. They think of criminal defense attorneys like, oh, yeah, you guys are the bad guys. You keep Gotham. But for me, like, no, man, it's not that. I'm trying to make you do your job. Like, let's be brutally honest. My job as a criminal defense attorney is to ensure that every charge you put against my person, you satisfy every element. That's your job. That's your job. If you do your job, I should lose every single day. But the fact that I have won means you botched your job. So don't tell me I'm keeping Gotham. If I'm being brutally honest, when you don't do your job right, you keep Gotham. That's your fault. That's not mine. So It's soul debt, man. Like, it's soul debt, but at the same time, as weird as it is, I was made for this. Like, sorry. It's just, I find peace because I do think I was made for this. Like, he made me for this. I think this way. I enjoy doing this. So, sorry for the rant, man. It's just, it's tough sometimes, though. As much as I love it, it's tough, man. It is tough. But I'm grateful for, you know, my wife. She's an awesome person who, man, without her, Warlord knows. Without her, man, I would not be
I
here.
told you that's the art.
Yeah, without her, I wouldn't be here. And my 3 daughters are the reason why I'm the reason why I care. So there, thank you. Let me say one other thing. I'm seeing some comments. I want to stress this. I don't think that prosecutors are evil. I don't think that. What I do think is it's very easy to become tribalistic. It's very easy to think us versus them. It's very easy to think ops, not ops. For me, I entirely base my outlook on, look, I'm going to try to be the best attorney I can be. I'm going to I'm going to try to give the client the outcome that they want. If you don't take this personally, and if you just do your job, cool. But the system doesn't work when you take this personally, when you try to get your pound of flesh, when you like that. For me, that's when it's like, what are we really doing? So I just wanted to say that. I love my wife. Thank you. I love my kids. And Warlord, man, I appreciate you, man. This is one of those things that, like, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to let your friend who's a book nerd who loves the law to do this, but you do. So thank you. Like, it's fun. I enjoy it. I'm becoming a better attorney because of it, man. So thank you. Before you go, if you eat at a restaurant, is it a crime if somebody comes hijacks your meal right in front of you? I would say, what is that, right? I would say, what is that? So me and Warlord are eating a meal. An individual comes and takes property of mine without my consent. I did not give him the authorization to do it, and he leaves. I would say that is a prime example of what? I would say that's petty larceny. That's what I would say.
My life was in danger.
Okay, Warlord was taking a step further, so that's wild. That's what that is. But, but can you use deadly force for the defense of property, Warlord? We talked about this.
Defense of me.
So we eating dinner. That's what you're gonna do. That's what we do.
I'm gonna starve and die.
Good Lord. Well, one, I want to say I thank you both. I thank you both. I thank you all, everyone who's watching. You want to do robbery? Oh yeah, robbery. Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. God body, it's petty larceny. Petty larceny versus petty larceny versus robbery would be good though. That'd be interesting. Anyways, so I do think we're gonna do that though, Mimi. I do think the next episode or the next legal one should be about that most recent incident. If Warlord's down for it, I think that's good.
Yeah,
now you are. Oh, honestly, are you streaming tonight? Are you gonna play games or anything or no?
Yeah, I'm a game. I just might not play. What depends on what you're playing.
I'm gonna play Space Marine 2, man. I was gonna do it how I normally do, but if you're gonna play, I'll play with you. It's up to you.
I mean, I got some new games. It's not really your type of game.
Okay, well then, on that note, thank you for what you said. I appreciate it. Thank you everyone who's watching. I appreciate it. And again, man, you guys make it fun to learn more and more about the law. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. You guys take care.
Appreciate it. All right, y'all. That's Mr. Andre's class for the evening. I got to call my parents and help them figure out how come they can't get into the Netflix. So, like always, please like the video. If you're new here and if you're not subscribed, if you feel like we've earned your subscription, please subscribe. Or if not, please subscribe and we will keep on working towards earning that subscription that you gave us. Y'all have a good night. Am I done now, you said?
Yeah.
Bro, are you under my table?
Yes.
I'm not done yet, weirdo. Almost done.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going through the comments real quick.
Okay.
They're moving so fast.
Hmm?
They're moving so fast.
Um,
Good night, Capri. Good night, Erica. Appreciate that, D Hill. Girl, I'm not done yet. Stop talking to me, jerk. Call your face that.
Stop.
You stop.
What am I doing to you?
I don't know. You're bothering me. I think the comments stopped. I think. Where'd the show go? Cool. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good evening.